Monsieur, on va marcher sur l'eau?
Oui, certainement. Pourquoi aujourd'hui, ce n'est pas comme avant? Pourquoi il n'y a pas d'eau? C'est ça qu'on appelle le changement climatique.
Giving a voice to the voiceless, those who are on the front line of the climate crisis. Actress and director Aïssa Maïga's film Above Water shows how drought and water shortages affect a small community in Niger, while for us Europeans, that precious resource is available on tap. As world leaders are being urged to save humanity at the COP26 in Glasgow, artists have joined that campaign too, sending ever more urgent messages like the one at the heart of this documentary. Aïssa joins me in the studio to tell us more. Aïssa Maïga, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Above Water is a truly beautiful but very troubling film shot in the north of Niger in a village called Tatist. Right now, there are many ecological questions on the table, global warming, pollution, carbon emissions. So why did you choose to focus on this resource, water, and this community?
The original idea is Guy Lagache, one. He's a French journalist and director, and he was the one who was supposed to do the film. So when he happened not to be available, the producer offered me to direct the movie. I finally accepted because at the very first, I was a little bit worried. I was asking myself, what am I going to bring to this subject of global warming and the water shortage? And because the story is set in Western Africa, and because I am from West Africa, I'm originally from Mali and Senegal, and I was born and I live in France, but I feel very connected to my roots. So I decided to dive into the subject, and to me, it happened to be very, very connected to many memories I had from my holidays in northern Mali, which is the country of my father. And this region of North Mali is very, very dry, like it is in Niger. And I wanted to give a voice to the voiceless, as you just said, because the global warming subject matter is very, it's very present in the news, but we don't very often hear the voice of some communities in the world, in some remote areas, and especially in Africa. And it happened to be very interesting to realize that the water shortage in Niger is not due to a natural change. It's really due to the impact of the industrial countries on the environment. And I wanted to show that in this type of areas, people are able to connect and to move forward to change their own destiny.
We do see that in the film, it's true, in part of the narrative climax. Well, let's take a look. This is Above Water, released in cinemas here in France on November 10th and in 15 countries in Africa.
Indah, udah. Ando minta artis. Oh, in abjo. Oh, bandam suri. Ya maballida. Si da min fu maballande.
Ra Allah ti mamiju. Sai mi alawol koskol lelli den.
Femi andi min obodabe. Si emin dillirta. Wa emi dimo.
Dan obi
Now, I was struck in those opening scenes of the film about the women of Tatis discussing the situation. They weren't afraid to speak up, to lobby for change. What did you observe about the gender dynamic in the decision-making process there?
The interesting is that in this community, these people are Wadabe, Fulani. In this community, 25 years ago, because the length of the rainy season was long enough, the families could be in their nomadic life altogether. But today, because of the climate change and because of the water shortage, it's not possible for them to continue in this nomadic life that they've been in forever. And the fathers, the men, have to go away from the village, and they go like they cross the country and go like hundreds of kilometers away from their homes to find some pâturage pastures, some pastures for the herds, and the women have to go away very often in the capitals of the neighboring countries. And they have to go for one reason. They are looking for some work to fetch some money for their families, to feed their children. And this economic responsibility that they face is very interesting to show the impact of the climate change on the family dynamics. Mm-hmm. And these women are very strong. They're determined to construct, to build up a better future for their children.
As you mentioned, there are these knock-on effects on the families, on the children's education, on work. How did it make you reconsider your or our privilege here, being able to use all the resources we might need?
It's very troubling to think that what we create as industrial countries has a very negative impact on the lives of people that have nothing to do with pollution. In this region, especially near the Sahara desert, the climate change is really, really fast. So I made the film to show the world that we are all interconnected. So we have, as citizens of the Western countries, an enormous capacity to change the people far away from us if we are able to change our habits.
And indeed, the film was seen by plenty of Europeans because Above Water was included in the Cinema and Climate sidebar at the Cannes Film Festival this year, the first time a major industry event gave those sorts of stories a dedicated platform. Another feature in that selection was Animal from activist and filmmaker Cyril Dion. He sat down with us at the festival to discuss the importance of taking a positive, proactive approach to a subject that can often be disheartening.
Que des films qui racontent comment on ne va pas s'en sortir.
All we see are films that tell us how we're not going to make it. Films that show the human race being colonized by aliens, eradicated by atomic bombs, or in apocalyptic scenarios like Mad Max, where there's no more water, or people are killing each other. Or ultra-high-tech stuff like artificial intelligence replacing humanity. It's pretty crazy if we're only able to tell these sorts of stories and never talk about how we're going to survive, how we can live differently in the future, in houses that produce more energy than they consume, how we're going to get through this. We can't build a different world if we can't even imagine it in the first place.
Aïssa, when Cannes made that decision to do the Cinema and Climate sidebar, there were some people who said films that try to teach us a lesson or to moralise are not interesting, they don't have artistic merit. Where do you think that resistance comes from?
I think that maybe we haven't given a chance for creative people to embrace this subject matter. And maybe we have to make more links between the creative people and the activists. But I think that today things are changing, especially thanks to people like Cyril Dion. He's a tireless advocate for the climate subject, and he did a lot in France to raise the consciousness of people, of citizens on a global point of view about the climate.
You mentioned Cyril as an activist, but you were making another film at the same time as this one, a documentary called Black Gaze, which looks at the representation of people of colour here in France, in the US and in Brazil. Now, this is an equally powerful insight to a serious social issue, racism. So I wonder if your two recent projects were kind of works of activism, have you got time for fiction? Are you more interested in devoting your artistic platform to that now?
I continue my career as an actress. I love my job, really. And I'm very lucky to be part of projects here in France or on the African continent or in some English-speaking projects. And to me, all of this is natural to be in a very different type. I've always done that, being in different types types of films, working with very different people, like Chiwetel Ejiofor or Cédric Klapiche, Abderrahmane Sissako, or many more. And today, becoming a director is making an old dream come true. I've always wanted to be the one who tells the story. And I feel very lucky to have the opportunity to do that. And I'll continue, for sure.
A happy hybrid, then, of art and activism. Aïssa Maïga, thank you so much for joining us today. Well, we'll leave you with another artist who creates inspiring images that highlight the natural beauty of our planet and the need to protect it. Yann Arthus Bertrand has published a book based on his documentary Legacy, encouraging younger generations to act now to safeguard our natural habitat. We'll leave you with a glimpse of that. Otherwise, you can get more arts and culture on our website. We're on social media too. There's more news coming up on France 24 just after this.